Far from home, soldiers of General Rosecrans' Union Army of the Cumberland settle in for a long, cold night, tense with anticipation of the next day's battle. Opposite their lines, General Bragg's Confederate Army of Tennessee braces against the sting of winter and the harsh reality of imminent battle. By candlelight, Confederate soldier Samuel Say writes, "Just before tattoo,
the military bands on each side began their evening music. The still winter night carries the strains to a great distance. At every pause on our side, far away could be heard the military bands of the other. Finally, one of them struck up Home Sweet Home. As if by common consent, all other airs ceased, and the bands of both armies, far as the ear could reach, joined in the refrain. Who knows how many hearts were bold next day by reason of that air."
The last day of 1862 dawns cold and damp. Few had slept well, thinking about the inevitable battle. Sergeant Major Lyman Whitney of the 34th Illinois Infantry remembers.
"We were building fires and making coffee, for such permission had been granted just before daylight. The comfort of warming chilled fingers and toes and drinking a grateful cup of hot coffee outweighed for the moment any consideration of danger."
The Confederate Army makes the first move at daybreak. About 2/3 of the Southern Army, the corps of Generals Polk and Hardee, assault the right wing of the Northern Army, commanded by Major General Alexander McCook. P.R. Jones of the 10th Texas Cavalry recalls the attack.
"The onslaught was so sudden and the slaughter so great that they retreated in great confusion. They had abandoned everything to get away.
By mid-morning, the Confederates have shattered the Union right. Only the troops of Generals Sheridan and Negley hold the Federal line in the bloody fields and rock-strewn woods that were later called the Slaughter Pen. As the fighting rages in the Slaughter Pen, General Rosecrans masses fresh troops and artillery along the Nashville Pike to halt the Confederate tide. Wave after wave of Confederate attacks are repulsed at the anchor point of this new line, a place that earned the name Hell's Half-Acre. By evening, the exhausted troops stop fighting. Soldiers like James L. Cooper of the 20th Tennessee Infantry won't soon forget that day.
"We moved to the right, passing over many dead bodies. We lay down, but for a time sleep was impossible to men who had passed through such dreadful scenes that day and expected them on the morrow. Many souls had passed into eternity that day."
General Bragg believes he has won a Confederate victory. He telegraphs Richmond, "God has granted us a happy new year." The next morning, Bragg is surprised to learn Union troops still occupy the area. New Year's Day passes without a fight, as both sides tend to their wounded and dead and regroup for the next round of battle. Civilians join the soldiers on the battlefield looking for loved ones. Some like G.B. Moon, are unsuccessful.
I spent most of the day searching for my fallen brother, but all in vain. He sleeps among the unknown dead. I went home.
For James Cooper, the light of day brings new horrors.
The night had been very cold, and numbers of the wounded had perished. I had been detailed on the infirmary corps and was busily occupied all the morning bringing in the wounded, both Confederate and Federal. I walked over the battlefield and saw some terrible sights.
January 2nd begins quietly, but the quiet is short-lived. Under orders from General Bragg, troops commanded by Major General John Breckinridge attacked the Union left. By late afternoon, fleeing Union soldiers are pushed back across Stones River at McFadden's Ford. W.J. McMurray of the 20th Tennessee Infantry describes the scene.
The first line of Yankees fell back to their second. We pressed them so closely. In 20 minutes, the whole mass was going back to the river.
On the heights above, 57 Union cannon are assembled, and the pursuing Confederates are hit with a deadly wall of fire. This was to be one of the bloodiest charges of the entire war. Within minutes, hundreds of men are killed and wounded. Major General Thomas L. Crittenden witnessed the attack.
The very forest seemed to fall, and not a Confederate reached the river.
About an hour later, the battle is over. Captain H.B. Clay of Pegram's Cavalry Brigade hears the sound of defeat.
The Yankees' 3 cheers sounded hatefully in my ears after they realized that the attack had failed and would not be renewed.
The Confederates withdraw, and over the next 2 days, the Army of Tennessee pulls out of Murfreesboro. Nearly 24,000 men were killed, wounded, or captured in one of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War. General Rosecrans claimed victory, boosting Northern morale and adding muscle to President Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation. Murfreesboro proved to be a critical strategic supply depot for the Union Army for the duration of the conflict.